For all your pastry, bakery, and quality food, CK Restaurant is the only place to be. We do catering for birthdays, weddings, and all related services. We have all kinds of local foods, American, European, and even beyond. Come and have a taste of our local juice, ebe, and other services. At CK Restaurant, customer satisfaction is our priority.
Are you thinking of owning your dream homes? EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3, or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings, 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151, or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Your Excellency, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the high table, our gathering here today is quite unique. Quite a unique one in that it's the first time in our national history that all presidential candidates have agreed to sign up to a code of conduct to provide a guide for their campaigns before, during, and after the elections. For this, we must congratulate and commend these distinguished gentlemen, Gambians that have decided to take up the challenge of leading our dear motherland. You gentlemen have weathered the storms, of decades of difficulty in this nation, navigated through the muddy terrain of nominations and public scrutiny, and now have your eyes set for victory. We, the people, are confident because of your presence here today. It signifies that you do not only want personal or party victory, you are here for the national victory. You have chosen and will commit to a code of conduct for yourselves, and this says to us that you are opening yourselves to be judged and to be held accountable. May I be quick to assure you of the leadership of civil society stands ready to support this process and ensure peaceful elections on this blessed soil. We have decided and are committed to play our role in the nation's development efforts. The whole process that we are here to witness today would not have been successful without the foresight of the Ministry of Justice and the AG Chambers in inviting the international idea to support our dear nation on this journey towards peaceful elections. To the Minister of Justice and his entire team, we honor you all. To international idea, what can we say? But let me begin by welcoming our brother, Dr. Roba Sharamo, the Regional Director of International Ideas. Welcome to the Gambia, sir, and welcome to this family and this partnership between International Idea and the people of the Gambia. But I must hasten to single out a gentleman. I know he will not be happy with me, but I must say that, sir, you have a member of staff that loves the Gambia sometimes, I think, more than us, the Gambians, and that is Morris. Ladies and gentlemen, this man, Morris, is so passionate about Gambia and the development of this country that any phone call, any text message, any email you send to Morris, within 24 hours maximum, you will receive a response. And I want to say to you, Morris, in my over 20 years of working in civil society, I am yet to see a partner so committed to the development of our country. So the Gambia salutes you, sir. Thank you, because even in your time of difficulty, you stood with us, and we cherish and honor you, and we love you. Thank you for your service to our country. As we welcome you all to this solemn ceremony, we wish to remind you all, especially Gambians, that we are a uniquely beautiful and peace-loving country. To kick off the goodwill messages, allow me, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to welcome His Excellency Mr. David Belgrove, the British High Commissioner to the Gambia, to give us goodwill message.
A few months ago, I had the honor to address an IPC meeting, and there I said, good elections are a state of mind. And I think today proves that all candidates are entering this campaign wanting a fair, transparent and peaceful contest. We applaud you and support you in that aim. Thank you very much.
To deliver another goodwill message, help me welcome the UN Resident Coordinator, Ms. Seraphine Wakana.
Let me commend the international idea and His Excellency Dr. Chambers for this initiative to unite presidential candidates around the common goal of conducting a peaceful and transparent presidential election that will allow the sovereign people of the Gambia to freely choose their next leader. Your initiative to elaborate a code of conduct to be signed today by the presidential candidates builds upon and complements important work that the Inter-Party Committee has been carrying out with the support of the UN over the past months and indeed years. Last month, the Inter-Party Committee convened a high-level national stakeholders forum in support of peace and credible elections in the Gambia, during which leaders of political parties committed themselves to the highest standards of electioneering in the presence of key national stakeholders and high-level observers from the UN, the ECOWAS, and the AU. The leaders of all 18 officially registered political parties in the Gambia have now signed a peace pledge, also known in the Janjambure Peace Accord, developed by the Inter-Party Committee with the support of UNDP, NDI, and ECOWAS, which build upon the foundations of the Constitution, the electoral law, the IPC's Memorandum of Understanding, and the IEC Code of Ethics, and which places particular emphasis on the importance of abstaining from inflammatory language during electoral campaign. The Code of Conduct that presidential candidates will sign this afternoon will be an important additional bulwark to help ensure that the December 4 presidential election will be characterized by substantive political debate, and that presidential candidates and their supporters will be held to the highest standards on the campaign trail, on election day, and during the immediate post-election period. The foreseen joint outreach actions will strengthen ownership of these important peace pledges to enable a conducive environment of the holding of peace, inclusive, free and transparent elections throughout the electoral process. To conclude, again, I congratulate and commend the presidential candidates, the international idea, and Dr. Chambers for this initiative, and we look forward to a peaceful, transparent, free and fair presidential election to be decided by the people of the Gambia.
Welcome the chairperson of the National Elections Response Group, Dr. Darrell Tommy, to give his goodwill message.
I must say that I talk not for me, but on behalf of NEG. NEG is the umbrella body that encompasses all the stakeholders in ensuring that the elections are free and fair. And we are grateful to our host, WANEP, who have been there for us since the beginning, okay? And we use that platform to make sure that you hear the domestic voice in the election reporting. I would like to thank these political representatives here present and to wish them luck and to say that the ink that they would use to sign the agreement will change from black to gold. Immediately it is signed. That's how we value this accord that is going to be signed. Effort to conduct peaceful and credible elections remain the focus of various local and international stakeholders in the Gambia and particularly in NEG. Ahead of the elections, there are concerns over rising tensions around the electoral process, including incidents of diversion, political rhetoric, and tension between and within political parties. That's what it is. 2 days ago, a colleague of mine called me from Arusha and was asking me, how did the nomination go? I said, I want to reaffirm that God is a Gambian. Due respect, Bishop and Imam. God is a Gambian, and God has seen us through. We use As a boy growing up, which some of us will witness, we used to say Salimentere. Now it's more than Salimentere. We have God with us and for us and by us in the entire process. Ladies and gentlemen, I am excited about the prospect of conducting peace and violence-free polls. But the challenges ahead are daunting. For example, the exploitation of the social media space as a mobilization and propaganda tool for violent communication has negative impact on the peaceful conduct of the 4th December polls. This, as the religious people would say, is a synod. Everybody has its own role to play, and we don't downplay the role of the media. Please, 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 let's put the right foot forward and make sure that we promote peace and harmony throughout the process. The signing of the Peace Pledge is about trust building, and I commend all the political parties for signing it. You are sending a strong message and signal to your constituencies that the Gambia is bigger than all of us. You are demonstrating true and genuine statesmanship that is needed at this crucial and critical stage. Finally, this election is just the beginning of a process, and I'm sure all the candidates seated here are praying that whoever wins inherits a peaceful country and not a country that they would have to start rebuilding.
A goodwill message will be received from the Honorable Aliu Momanjai, Chairperson of the Independent Electoral Commission.
The Gambia has recently witnessed an increase in the number of registered political parties, which can now be linked to the opening of the democratic space for greater political competition through multi-party elections. We have registered 18 political parties. Ladies and gentlemen, the election code of conduct has been embedded in the election laws of the Gambia. As such, all parties and candidates are required to fully comply with its provisions during elections. Its compliance was also part of the nomination criteria for every candidate during the election. The election code of conduct seeks to deliver peaceful, free and fair elections. Most candidates have observed its requirements in past electoral cycle. We expect such compliance to be replicated during the 2021 presidential election. This peace accord reinforces the code of conduct and encourages all candidates to be peaceful, law-abiding, and to avoid all violent acts. It also entreats all candidates to resort to legal means in the electoral process. The Commission calls on all political parties and candidates to adhere to this very important peace accord. I would like to take the opportunity to recognize the tireless sacrifices played by the entire idea and other development partners. In conclusion, the Constitution also all political parties and candidates of its readiness to fully collaborate with all stakeholders and deliver free and fair, transparent election to the Gambian people. I also wish to take the opportunity to thank the IEC staff. Our electoral process is such that I'm always voicing out. It is one of the most transparent, accurate, and credible elections throughout the whole world. Everything is witnessed. As you know, election starts with voting. And to vote, you must have a voter's card. And we issue this voter's card free of charge on the spot. And come election day, party agents are allowed to witness every process of the voting and the counting. And these party agents also sign the result sheets, which in turn they communicate to their respective headquarters. I, as a zoning officer, will be the last to know the results. So it's so transparent and accurate that I please implore on all political parties to conduct their campaigns and to advise all their members and supporters that because of its transparency and credibility, there must be no problems during and after the elections. The results when announced, everybody will know, even though I know as a zoning officer, that Party A or Mr. EY has won the elections.
I would like to call upon His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers to give some remarks.
Signing of a code of conduct by the 6 presidential candidates in the 4th December presidential elections is historic. It is yet another mark of the new democratic dispensation in the Gambia. This is the first time in the history of the country that all presidential candidates are voluntarily undertaking, by signing of a code of conduct, to moderate their behavior and that of their followers or supporters before, during, and after the elections. I'm personally highly elated for the opportunity to be associated with this event. Indeed, I deem it a great honor to have been invited by the government of the Gambia and International IDEA to serve as the lead eminent person for the national dialogue process that has produced the Code of Conduct. In this exercise, I've been ably assisted by 2 eminent Gambians, the Honorable Mrs. Elizabeth Renner and Mr. Osman Yabo, whose wisdom and sense of balance I have come to admire and which I want to recognize. Elections are important mechanisms in democratic and peace processes of every nation. This year's presidential elections is unique as it is taking place in a new democratic space. This offers hope to the Gambian people. The challenges facing the Gambian political process are typical of most transitional democracies in the region. World over, electioneering periods are often marked by increased tensions. All these need to be well managed to ensure the Gambia emerges as the real winner so that the country can move forward to tackle other developmental challenges. Since September, we have engaged all relevant actors, the IEC, the IPC, political parties, civil society organizations, the media, security agencies, and faith-based organizations in a consultative process. The ideas, concerns, and aspirations expressed have been synthesized into the document. Key institutions, particularly the IEC, have so far carried out their mandates satisfactorily despite challenges. I would like to commend them, and in particular, Mr. Chairman, who is here with us today, and to urge them to endeavor to attain the highest standards of professionalism in the conduct of the elections. In the same vein, I would like to appeal to security forces to provide adequate security to all the candidates and to citizens. Call on the media to avoid sensational reportage and to abide by the ethics of their profession. The code of conduct to be signed by presidential candidates recognizes the existing ones under the IPC, adhered to by all political parties. Today, the 6 presidential candidates are making publicly a solemn pledge, demonstrating their commitment to work for the preservation of the Gambia's young democracy. They are undertaking to conduct themselves in a manner as to ensure credible, peaceful, and participative elections. The candidates are holding themselves accountable to ensure issues-based campaigns devoid of hate speech, inflammatory language, or actions that incite tribal, religious, or other sectarian sentiments likely to lead to violence, division, or disruption of the cherished peace that Gambians are enjoying. They also commit themselves and their party and their political parties, for those who are party flag bearers, to ensure that their party faithful followers or supporters conduct themselves in a manner that contributes to maintaining peace and stability before, during, and after the December presidential elections. Above all, the Code of Conduct binds signatories to accept the outcome of the elections as will be announced by the IEC and to seek redress to grievances arising through constitutional and legal means by due process of law. Barely 24 hours after the coup d'etat of 22nd July 1994, as Deputy Foreign Minister of Ghana, together with the Foreign Minister of Nigeria, Alhaji Babagana Kingibe, and the then Executive Secretary of ECOWAS and current Speaker of Parliament of Sierra Leone, the Honorable Abbas Bundu, I was a member of the first ECOWAS delegation to visit the Gambia. Then, roll forward. On 21st January 2017, I, as head of the UN Office for West Africa, was part of the delegation dispatched to Banjul to negotiate the departure of the former president after his 22 years reign in power. Both of these occasions were harrowing experiences to be told on another day, on another occasion. Today, as fate will have it, I am witnessing a momentous, happy event signaling the democratic strides the Gambia has made in barely 5 years. Many of the reforms embarked upon in the new dispensation with the strong support of the UN, as has been told us by the UNRC, particularly the UN Peacebuilding Commission and other development partners, occurred under my watch as head of UNOWAS. The country has received diverse support from the international community towards constitutional and institutional reforms and transitional justice. We're in a new political dispensation with burgeoning of political parties and competing interests which need to be managed constructively to consolidate the relative peace in the country. This initiative by International IDEA, with the support of key development partners, notably the UK government, is part of a contribution to peace building and entrenchment of democracy. Much has been achieved, but these past years have been a transitional period. Much remains to be done to stabilize the country and consolidate the democratic gains or dividends. I would particularly single out the need to truly empower women to fully harness their potentialities in all walks of public life. To achieve that, the Gambia must continue to enjoy peace, justice, and stability. And that is exactly what the 6 presidential candidates who are signatories to the Code of Conduct pledged to do. I congratulate each one of them for this demonstration of patriotism and wish them success in their political campaigns. It is my firm belief that this year's elections shall be peaceful, and the Gambia shall remain the smiling coast of Africa. Long live the Gambia, long live ECOWAS, long live Africa.
I now have the pleasure to invite a very good friend of mine, my elder, Mr. Usman Yabo.
Peace and stability of the Gambia. To the head of political parties present here today, let me take this opportunity to also express my sincere thanks and appreciation for your cooperation and express commitment to this initiative manifested throughout our engagement with you and by your presence here today. To me, this demonstrates your realization of the urgency and the exigency of the country as this most critical time of our political history. I also wish to thank the Gambian government through the Minister of Justice, as well as indeed International IDEA for their support and leadership in recognizing the need to ensure a peaceful election given our turbulent background. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why we are seated here is because of our recent political history and experiences when the people of the Gambia decided to put an end to 22 years of authoritarian rule in 2016. We entered into a current dispensation in 2017 with a great ray of hope and promise for a better Gambia in unity, peace, and reconciliation. Since 2017, while much has been achieved, we launched a robust transitional justice funded by our partners. It is also It is also concerning that our society is hugely polarized along political, ethnic, religious, and other sectoral lines. There is nothing worse than endangering the peace, stability, and unity of a society than an environment of unhealthy political polarization and intolerance, especially as we head to elections. It is for this reason that the role and contribution of political parties and their leaders and supporters are paramount in building and strengthening an environment of peace and stability. The Gambia is a democratic republic in which government is formed by the opinions of the electorate. This proposes that there will be various political parties established and the sharing of divergent dissenting opinions as we seek to promote our vision of the Gambia. This is what constitutes democracy, which has no space for hate speech, divisive and sectarian politics, and indeed demands that we all stand together to refrain from such menaces that may come from our party supporters and leaders alike.
I would like to call upon Honorable Elizabeth Renner, who will be actually reading the Code of Conduct today. Honorable, can you please join us?
I wish you all the luck, and a lot have been said to you, and I'm sure in your own dreams you have thought of a lot, and God would answer all the prayers as is best, not just for you, but for the Gambia. May I also congratulate all those who have been involved in preparing this code of conduct, but especially the parties themselves, the CSOs, the media, and in fact, all the people who were involved in the deliberations when IDA invited a cross-section of this country to make sure that whatever was going to appear in this code would be reflecting what the Gambia wants. So this code of conduct is not something that is coming from above. It's not manna from heaven falling down on the laps of the party of the candidates for them to sign. It is something which actually belongs to all of us, all Gambians. And therefore, I would want to say, even though at the end of the day, the candidates are going to sign, I think every Gambian, I believe, not even think, that every Gambian is a custodian of this code of conduct. Every Gambian has the responsibility to make sure this country continues to be peaceful. With peaceful elections, we will definitely have peaceful results. And therefore, we will have a peaceful country from which we can develop and bring this country's name higher up in the map of the world. Already though small, and the fact that because of our size, nobody thought we would be able to continue with our independence when we sought for independence. In fact, this is one of the very few countries who gained independence without fighting. And if we were able to do that, I think we should be able to have our own elections without fighting, without violence, and continue the peace for which we are known. This code of conduct that is going to be signed is known as Towards Peaceful Presidential Elections in the Gambia, Code of Conduct for Candidates, November 21. I think we must have to remember the title, Code of Conduct for Candidates, because already we know there were codes of conduct for political parties. So this is different. Not that it is different in contents per se, but the emphasis is being put on the candidates, and also the other difference is the fact that it was, all that we have here was derived from the people themselves. The preamble reads, we, the candidates to the December 4th, 2021 presidential elections in the Republic of the Gambia, having been duly certified by the Independent Electoral Commission, IEC, to contest the election, met at the Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara International Conference Center on this 11th day of November 2021, at the instance of the Gambian populace, based on persistent demand to secure peaceful elections and the judicial resolution of electoral disputes. Expressing our appreciation to Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, African Union, AU, United Nations, UN, the Government of the United Kingdom, the Government of the United Kingdom, the European Union, EU, and other partners, and to international IDEA for their support to this process, reaffirming our commitment to the tenets of the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia, 1997, the Elections Act, 2009, the Inter-Party Committee, IPC, Memorandum of Understanding and Code of Conduct, 2017, and the IPC Peace Pledge, also known as the Janjanbureh Peace Accord, 2021, being committed to taking all necessary and appropriate measures to consolidate our democracy and to preserve the Gambia's well-deserved reputation as a haven of peace, stability, and constitutionalism on the African continent, renewing our deep commitments to peace in all our political activities before, during, and after the December 4th, 2021 presidential elections, we hereby declare as follows. 1. To run issue-based political campaigns at village, town, city, district, constituency, municipal, regional, and national levels. 2. To publicly condemn violence, intimidation, and political thuggery at any time during the election process. 3. To refrain from and condemn the use of religious, sectarian, ethnic, and tribal politics to campaign. 4. To refrain from making or causing others to make in our names or in the name of our party any public statements, pronouncements, declarations, or speeches that have the potential to incite any form of ethnic, tribal, or religious sentiments, and which could impede access to eligible voters by political opponents. 5. To strongly condemn all acts of electoral violence, whether perpetuated by ourselves, our supporters, or our opponents. 6. To cooperate with the IEC and other political parties and candidates in ensuring orderly scheduling of political activities to avoid clashes of political processions, meetings, rallies, and other activities at the village, town, city, district, or constituency levels. 7. To not engage in vote buying. 8. To take all reasonable steps necessary to ensure the safety and protection of electoral officers from any form of threat, abuse, or violence, and to assist in the protection of election materials, including voters' register, from willful damage, destruction, or theft. 9. To cooperate with IEC and law enforcement institutions to act professionally and impartially in investigating electoral disputes, whether at the polling stations, community, constituency, regional, and national levels. 10. To accept the results of the elections as announced by the chairperson of IEC. 11. To restrain our supporters from resorting to violence in the aftermath of the elections. 12. To resort to judicial processes to address disputes which may arise from the elections. 13. To commit ourselves and our political parties and supporters to the monitoring of adherence to this code of conduct by a committee of eminent statesmen and women, traditional and religious leaders. 14. To take up the responsibility of communicating the tenets of this code of conduct to all our followers. This code of conduct is adopted at the Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara International Conference Center, the Gambia, on 11th November 2021. It shall be signed by Honorable A.N.M. Usainu Dabo, UDP, Honorable Mama Kande, GDC, Honorable Halifa Babukar Sala, PDOIS, H.E. Honorable Adama Barrow, NPP, Honorable Esam Baifal, independent candidate, and Honorable Abdullahi Ibrahima Jame, NUP. It shall be duly witnessed by the President, Supreme Islamic Council, Sheikh Alhaji Essa Dabo, by the Chairman of the Gambia Christian Council, Bishop James Alenyo Oriko, by the local facilitators, Honorable Mrs. Elizabeth F.Y. Renner and Honorable Mr. Usman Emesiabo, and also witnessed by the eminent person who we have had praise throughout the day, not because we want just to make him look good, but because he deserved those praises, His Excellency, Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers.
At this juncture, I wish to now invite the presidential candidates, upon calling your names, of course, to head to the table where we will be signing this very document. I think the ladies will signal me once they're ready. Yes? So for those that are here, that are presidential candidates, they will append their signature. And for those who are absent, they have also already expressed their willingness to sign this document. And that would be Honorable Khalifa Babakar Saleh of Doi, and to also His Excellency Adama Barrow, who are currently absent but will be signing the document. So first, I have the honor to invite Honorable Usainu Dabo to be the first to append his signature. I have the honor to also invite Honorable Essa Mbaifal. I also have the pleasure to invite Honorable Abdullahi Jammeh. I'd like to invite Honorable Sidi Keita to also represent His Excellency. Mr. Amaduka, who is the Deputy Party Leader of the GDC, to kindly also append your signature, sir. Mahatma Gandhi said that to safeguard democracy, the people must have a keen sense of independence, self-respect, and their oneness. I think today here, the presidential candidates have demonstrated that, and we really wish you all the best. Now, we would like to invite them each to give a 3-minute statement. We know that this is normally very difficult for politicians, much more heads of political parties. But I know that it's been a long day and you have a campaign to do, so we really would like to still hear from you. And so I would like to begin by inviting first Honorable Usainu Dabo.
Efforts will be made to have this code of conduct as subsidiary legislation under the Elections Act so that it becomes a permanent feature of our electoral matters. I'm gratified that today I have signed a code of conduct that expresses my beliefs. It codifies my belief that elections must be held transparently and that contesting candidates must not resort to anything other than what is recognized by the law. After all, it appears to me that this code of conduct that we have signed today is a reflection of some of the provisions in our Elections Act. And all that we really need to do is implementation. And we committing ourselves to signing not because of the cameras, because we believe in it. And I want to assure everyone here that the United Democratic Party, and me in particular, the candidate, will adhere to this code of conduct. UDP stands for unification of this country. UDP fights polarization. UDP fights tribalism. UDP fights anything divisive in this country. We want to provide bridges between the various ethnic groups and bridges between the various religions in this country. Our commitment to this nation is reflected in our struggle for the past 22 years. I would have thought that those political parties that signed this agreement today, or this code of conduct today, would never have been called upon to do so because of our past. That we would just have developed the tradition of conducting elections in the way that is thought to be the practice. I think we should now be developing traditions rather than codifying everything. I have not seen any code directing the conduct of elections in the First Republic. I've not seen it. Yet they were contending parties. I mean, the issues are not different from now. Are they more patriotic than we are? I don't think they are. So we should really believe in what our Constitution says. We should really believe in what we are saying. And this solemn occasion should not really be used just as a mere window dressing. It must be something that reflects our beliefs. It must be something that we are prepared to live by. And I want to assure everyone here, particularly my friend and brother, Mr. Bun Chambers, that Usainu Dabo, the presidential candidate for the United Democratic Party, will do everything in his power to ensure that this code is respected. I have signed in good faith, and the faith that made me sign this, I will live by that faith. We want to assure everyone that we want to unite this country. I want to assure everyone that peace is what we advocate for. That is why we have it in our motto, justice, peace, and progress. We believe that without justice, you cannot have peace. And we believe that without peace, you cannot embark on any development of the nation. And justice, of course, can only be given by those who have been vested with power to do things on behalf of the nation. If you treat me differently from another party, and I feel that I have been met with injustice, it could really push me into doing something that will be the cause of instability. And I want to appeal to everyone of us, we the candidates and the general citizenry, to be law-abiding, that we should make the world know that Gambia is the smiling coast, and you cannot have a smiling coast if there's no peace, if there's violence. We want to ensure that during and after the elections, there is no violence. But also want to appeal to the authorities, particularly law enforcement authorities, that they should be impartial. That way, they can ensure peace. That way, people will really respect the laws of the country. But if preferential treatments are given to a group of people, and my people are not given the same treatment, that will not augur well for stability in this country. We are not warning, but we are only advising. And I want to congratulate all of you who have worked hard to realize this document. And I also want to take the opportunity to publicly congratulate my fellow contestants. I have always believed that we are not rivals, we are just competitors. We all want to do the best for our country, and in doing so, there is no need, there is no room for acrimony, there is no room for hostility. We must all be friends and consider ourselves first and foremost as Gambians before being a United Democratic Party leader or being for the candidate for the United Democratic Party. I thank you all.
The honor of inviting Honorable Essa Mbaye-Fall, independent candidate, to also deliver a speech.
Today marks a very important day in the history of the democracy of this country. As I know it, for the first time, candidates are publicly pledging to observe a particular code of decorum in our elections. Of course, the history of the past few years tells us that we should do this. I happen to belong to that group of people who have lived or experienced the scourge of post-election violence. As a young diplomat, I have worked in situations in which we tried to put together rules in order to avert potential post-election violence. I recall also working as a lawyer in a peacekeeping operation in which that country was badly affected by post-election violence. And I saw firsthand what that could mean for any developing country. In both 1999 and the year 2000, I worked on the East Timor file, first at the UN Security Council, wherein we wrote resolutions addressing that problem. Later, I worked there to help re-establish the justice sector in that country, which was badly affected by the post-election violence arising out of the 1999 referendum. And later in life, I worked at the International Criminal Court as a lawyer defending both the Kenyan leaders, the Kenyatta case, and the William Ruto case, which arose as a result of terrible post-election violence in which 1,356 Kenyans were killed, and also property worth millions and millions of dollars were lost. And I believe that all that was absolutely unnecessary. It was an attack on the democracy of the people and an absolute waste. And that is one of the reasons why, when I declared to be candidate in this election, I thought that it was absolutely necessary that the people who work with me are made to embrace particular values that would impact positively on our elections. That's why we came up with our own code of conduct that we made all our campaign staff to accept. We also tried to promote it amongst our supporters. Everywhere we went, we advised them that we comply by a particular code of conduct. Thankfully, that code of conduct mirrors what is contained in the code of conduct we have just signed today. So this signing ceremony just strengthens or recognizes the values that we have in Team Esambai Fall for President. And we intend to keep our word. We intend to abide by it because we believe that it reinforces our democracy, it strengthens the bonds and the unity of the Gambian people. When I see the other candidates in this race, I don't see enemies. When I see Honorable Usainu Dabo, I see an uncle and a senior in my trade. When I see Honorable Salah, I see an uncle and an eminent Gambian we all revered when we were growing up. When I see President Barrow, when I see Mr. Jame and when I see Mr. Kande, I see brothers. I wish there were women also in the race, and be rest assured that I would have seen sisters out of them. And that is the way it should be. We must respect one another and treat each other properly, even though we are competing for a position. And I do believe that it is quite in keeping with Gambian values that we treat one another with respect and dignity that every single one of us deserves. And I stand before you and reaffirm that pledge, the signature that I just made, that Team Esamba Ifal would do everything to comply with the commitment we have just made. Before I leave, I want to emphasize one important issue. All this would be a hollow gesture if there is no monitoring of the activities of those concerned with a view to holding us accountable for what we have just signed up to. It is one thing to sign up to lofty ideals if there is no effort to hold us accountable to those ideals. It would just be a hollow gesture. I do believe and I do hope that efforts would be made to monitor what the parties do, parties and the candidates and their supporters do, in order to ensure that we live up to our commitment. Once that is done, I think the prospect of being caught wanting could perhaps maybe help calibrate our behaviors to ensure that we observe strictly what we have undertaken to do. On that note, I wish all my fellow candidates good luck in these elections.
I would like to invite now Honorable Abdoulaye Jammeh from NUP to please share with us your sentiments on this occasion.
I want to say that we as a party, that's the National Unity Party, our subscription to this code of conduct is total. In fact, it's a reflection of a code that we have adopted internally as a party. If anyone is a visitor to our platform, our media platform, you realize that these are the very values that we advocate. So I say thank you very much, and that we're very happy to have appended our signature as a party to this agreement. I did remark to Honorable Chambers and team yesterday as a prelude to this function that I believe this is the real peacekeeping. What we say peacekeeping is when we station military garrisons in foreign countries. That for me is crisis resolution. Peacekeeping is when you put together arrangements that can prevent crises. And I think this is exactly what we have achieved here today. I also want to say that I think there is a feature level for this process. Someone mentioned it here. I think it's one of the candidates, possibly Honorable Sinudavo or Esamba Ifal, that we need another level, and that level is enforceability. We need what we call enforcement action. The provisions are nice, but for example, a provision that prohibits vote buying, I don't know how we police that. But that in itself is a threat to our democracy. And that is something that we need to look at.
We would like to now invite the representatives of NPP and GDC to make their remarks, and by Stating that, I would like to first invite Honorable Keita to represent His Excellency Adama Barrow.
To mention about this monumental event and one of a kind in the history of the Gambia. In general, we're not here to lecture, but to reaffirm that a code of conduct is never against existing laws of the land. Rather, it complements the existing laws and are normally of a higher standard than the existing laws. As such, compliance therewith creates a situation where there will be no need to resort to the laws. In my profession of investment management, the mantra is always to uphold the higher of either the existing code of ethics or the laws of the land, whichever is higher. So today, the burden of proof on candidates for the election is a higher one than the existing laws, and we hope and pray that that is observed. And I subscribe to thereto, and prior to coming to this meeting, the brief I have from my principal, His Excellency, the President of the Republic, Adama Barrow, is that he fully subscribes to this code of ethics and will live by it. So with that, we begin our deliberation, and basically it's saying that this signing ceremony, indeed, as I've been mentioned, is the first of its kind, that the nominated and approved candidates are coming together to sign a code of ethics, code of conduct, which by committing themselves to a peaceful election, refrain from violence and intimidation, as well as to accept the declared results of the IEC. That is a very fundamental part thereof. You will recall, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that this dialogue process for the conduct of a peaceful election was initiated by the government of the Gambia through the Ministry of Justice, working in collaboration with IDEA on the 12th of September 2021 when the process commenced. The overarching objective is to build a political consensus among the political parties, leaders, civil service organizations, the media, IEC, security forces, traditional rulers, faith-based organizations, on the need for a peaceful electoral campaign, peaceful voting, and peaceful electoral dispute resolution, if any, for the 2021 presidential election and the 2022 legislative election. So the conduct is not just for presidential, but for the legislative elections as well. Having signed this document today, which among other things reaffirm our commitment to consolidate the nation democracy and preserve the Gambia's renowned reputation for peace, peaceful existence, and stability, I can assure you, on behalf of His Excellency, the President of the Republic and the leader of the NPP, that we will abide and fully comply with the letter and spirit of the Code of Conduct here in Appended 2. I would like, on behalf of His Excellency, who is unable to be with us this afternoon, to congratulate the nominated members and approved members by the IEC for the presidential election, and to wish you all a very successful and peaceful campaign. In the same vein, I would like to seize this opportunity to thank all political parties, their leaders that participated in this dialogue. This dialogue, as you are all aware, by now was facilitated by His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers, former United Nations Secretary General, Secretary Special Representative for West Africa and Sahel. I wish you were one. And assisted by two prominent Gambians, Honorable Elizabeth Rena and Usman Yabo. But it's never late, sir. I would like to extend my profound thanks and gratitude to Dr. Chambers, in the first place, for accepting to lead this dialogue. And it is indeed a honor that we have such a strong, prominent personality to conduct the dialogue. His legacy to the transition justice for the Gambia will ever be cherished. And once again, Doctor, thank you. To the two prominent Gambians who have accompanied him on the journey, we also wish to extend His Excellency's deepest and heartfelt commendation. Above all, your participation is a noble task and is a testament to your patriotism and commitment to duty and country. Finally, this series of dialogues were sponsored by IDEA, and international organization that has been with us in the Gambia since the beginning of the transition. And we'll recall that the mediation that was conducted last year on the consultation on the Constitution was also under their auspices, as well as which was led by former President Goodluck Jonathan of Nigeria. This is an organization that has left footprints on all components of our transitional justice process, and it's therefore fitting that I express on behalf of the government of the Gambia and the people our deepest gratitude and appreciation for everything that they have done. In the same vein, we will also like our international partners for accompanying us on this journey and to help us build the Gambia we all want. At the end of the day, that's the most important thing.
I would like to finally call upon Mr. Amaduka from GDC, who is ably representing here Honorable Mama Kande.
The GDC, through him and himself, promise to totally commit to this code of conduct before, during, and after the elections, and would at all times reflect to what actually has been endorsed in the code of conduct to be an important tool and a guiding process throughout the process. We can just remember a few years ago, we almost had been visited by the absence of peace. And that guest isn't a guest that is happily remembered by all of us. And that being the case, I believe it was a test and a good lesson to most of us who had not experienced the absence of peace. I will not even call it absence of peace, but almost the absence of peace. Our country being a very peaceful country, most of us, since our birth to date, haven't experienced what have been heard in other countries. But at least that window gave us a better idea what it means when we are to be in a country where we cannot enjoy peace and tranquility. So therefore, collectively, it is important that we remind ourselves of the very importance of living together, but also going through our national duties peacefully. Democracy, peaceful elections, all requires a collective work, collective responsibility. Here we are today as leaders and candidates contesting for the 2021 presidential elections, who bear the greater responsibility for this code that we are talking about. But every single soul in this country, being a citizen of the country or a guest in the country, have a role to play in the preservation of our peace and also in the observance of a peaceful election. So we all must endeavor to go through this process collectively, where we all together preach for peace, pray for peace, and advise one another in the cause of peace. It is also important, we know that everybody in this country, every citizen and every guest in this country have absolute right to live in this country peacefully, to enjoy the peace that we have been known as a country. So therefore, the rights of individual people in this country need to be protected. And I would call on every Gambian, but most especially the contestant of this election, to bear the greater part of such a responsibility. We all have the right to go out and do our canvass in our campaigns. We will be visited by the trauma of victory, of supporters who want to see us victorious at the end of the day. But we always must bear in mind that the peace of this country and a greater part of the peace in this process we are going into lies on ourselves. It is important also to remind our people also in the aspect of ethical politics. The issue of hate speech, the issue of naming and or shaming one another in the streets shouldn't be the way, as it is already enshrined in this code, that the campaigns and our messaging could be about issues and not as I just mentioned. But again, a greater responsibility of that lies in the heads of the individual contestants and the respective executives of their political parties and or independent, their personal teams. And this we all must try as much as possible to protect and to see it happen. We are challenged by a lot of situations. We have seen recently the use of money and other, what may not call, whatever I may not even call a strategy or so, but what I'm just trying to put across is not the way forward. We have been handed over a country by people or by centuries, by our forefathers. And one of the most fundamental aspects that they are handed over to us was peace. We must start thinking about what we would like to hand over to the generations yet unborn. So on that note, I would sincerely congratulate and also wish the very best of luck to the contestants, all of them, and then I'll just reiterate the necessity for us all to go through this election in a peaceful and most appropriate manner. All other stakeholders must also acknowledge that they are key players in this peace process, including the security services, the Independent Electoral Commission, and even the CSOs and media personalities and media groups, that this peace would be preserved not only by the candidates themselves, but collectively by all of us. Each and every one of us at any point in time could be a recipe for the absence of peace. And therefore then, you may not be signing today, but I urge you to take the greater responsibility for this code of conduct to see us all sail through this election in a peaceful and the best way possible.
Dr. Roba, to give the vote of thanks, and then we will do the closing remarks, and we will be out of this place.
What is really important in Africa, if you look at the peacekeeping missions across the world, majority of them are in Africa. And they're in Africa because of either absence of peace, collapse of states, or complex conflicts which trigger that the UN to intervene. And we always say that comes about because of lack of peace or deficit of governance. That's why globally a lot of money is spent in Africa to keep peace. And often the trigger is around elections and constitutional changes of government, coups, extensions of term limits, and all that. In the next 2 weeks, International IDEA will be launching a report, which is called the Global State of Democracy Report. And in that, you will see that there are some regions are making quite some progress, some regions are not making progress. We are seeing the return of coups. In our region here, we have challenges in Mali, in Chad, in Sudan. Ethiopia, which hosts us now, is really undergoing quite some challenges. Guinea, recently. And of course, we don't want that to be that what will come to the smiling coast of Africa, isn't it? So we want the smiling coast of Africa with the assurances that we have been given by His Excellency the President when we met him, as well as by all the presidential candidates here today. And I think we hope that all will go well. Today, the Code of Conduct has been signed, building on the foundation set by other codes of conduct that have been signed through the IPC and other political parties. These are all efforts, and this is what the Gambian people should really appreciate, all efforts to show that from the UN level, development partners level, AU, ECOWAS, and everyone else, that the world is watching the Gambia. And we want Gambia to really cross this bridge in a peaceful manner. And the code of conduct will be, I think a number of the presidential candidates have said, we want it to be monitored. There's a US scholar who said that peace is not a piece of paper. So this code of conduct will not be a piece of paper. We have the National Election Response Group. We have a lot of eyes from different observers. And we have been told by His Excellency the Chairman of IEC that the number of observers who are asking for accreditation is really quite massive. Quite massive. That shows the level of interest. And I want to also say that we will support as International IDEA, together with our other partners, to ensure that this code of conduct, particularly the signature page, is going to be popularized in the media and also translated to different languages. And I want to call upon, of course, the civil society and other groups to really help us with that. So finally, I think I will just go to really saying that after the election, it's also when the hard work begins. I'm a Kenyan. Kenya has different strides. Sometimes we go to the edge, and then we find a way of coming back. You know, we have political violence, which His Excellency Honorable Fall spoke about. As a representative of some of the clients, we shipped off to The Hague, where he's also representing them. But then we also learn the politics of compromise, the politics of handshake. I want to encourage our presidential candidates that they remain committed to peace, they remain committed to resolutions of any dispute through peaceful means or judicial means, and also learn from countries from Kenya, but on the good side of it. The politics of handshake, which can also be very useful sometimes. Your Excellencies, let me now I want to really thank our presidential candidates for finding time out of very busy campaign schedule to be with us. And maybe the next election, beyond just signing the code of conduct, we should be able, together with the Gambian people, civil society, and other partners, organize even presidential debates. Presidential debates. That will be very interesting. It's been done in some other African countries. That beyond the 3 minutes, we can give you 30 minutes in future, inshallah. And I want to also hope that, as Madam Reina said, she shouldn't be alone on the side of the conveners, but have actually more presidential candidates also on the other side. And I'm sure it can be done. And I know the Gambian movement are extremely strong. Your Excellencies, I want to really thank the Almighty God for giving us this opportunity to be here and for having these excellent conversations without any tempers rising, without any of strong supporters cheering or doing any other thing. And also want to thank His Excellency the President for actually according His Excellency Chambers and the team an excellent hearing, and also really giving his blessings for this support, and also he's deploying his ministers who are with us, including also the Minister of Justice, who has really been working very closely with us, and the Solicitor General in the crowd here. And I want to also thank our chair. I will say chair, you know, he has a lot of titles. The eminent person, Dr. Chambers, who has really, really worked for Africa and also worked for the world at different levels, and for really standing with the Gambian people, and for his wisdom, and for his humility, and for his wealth of experience, which is also very well supported by the deep, deep experience of Honorable Reina and also Honorable Yabo. I want to thank our religious leaders, the chairman of the Christian Council and the president of the Supreme Council, Islamic Council, for their prayers, as well as really supporting this process. And by that, they are getting their constituencies also really to ensure that we walk the path of peace. I want to thank also the inter-party committee. And of course, we have 6 presidential candidates, but there are also other candidates who really wanted to become candidates, but they also have really a huge constituency. We want you to also continue to bring peace to others, and also want to thank the officials and the chairman who is within the crowd here. Importantly, the chairman of IEC, together with the team, yes, sir, you are the referee, and we want to pray for you to continue to exercise independence, wisdom, and ensuring that we have credible election of whatever that is within your control. And as well, really the civil society, the faith-based groups, and also media to continue to be vigilant in the same process. Importantly, the National Election Response Group, we also have a huge task to continue to monitor issues of hate crimes, hate speech, incitements, and I think that mechanism can continue to grow and also ensure that we have a peaceful election. I want to thank our diplomatic community who have been extremely patient. I want to thank the development partners. I want to thank the UN, the EU, the UK, particularly really for the support that they have accorded for this support to international idea. And we want to continue to encourage collaboration among all the partners that we are able to really stand in a more coordinated manner with the Gambian people to pull off an excellent election. Representatives of the AU, ECOWAS, African Union, of course, and also the UN who are present, and the moderators, I think, actually did an excellent job, isn't it? Can we have a round of applause for them? Because they are the only ones who have been extremely attentive from the beginning, isn't it? They have been very attentive, and we want to really thank you for this support and for your eloquence as well. I want to thank my colleagues in International IDEA, Maurice and the team, a number of them spread all over. We also have a number of people within the Ministry of Justice who have been working closely with us. We want to really thank you. I know these are people who sleep sometimes at 2 a.m., at 3 a.m., and ensure that every comma is corrected. You know, we have an English teacher here, as in the name of Noraborina, who was also very particular how things are spelled and also commas are applied. I want to really thank as well the government of the Gambia for all the protocol assistance, security assistance that they have given us and ensuring that everything is going well, and the management of this important, beautiful center for ensuring that we have all the COVID compliance done and also excellent facilitation as well. And finally, really to thank everyone here, everyone in this room for their commitment to this. As International IDEA, the message from my Secretary General all the way from Stockholm is that we will continue to work with the Gambia after election, because there are a few things that needs to be maybe made or tightened, and we want to be there. It's your process, it's your aspiration, but we want to support you in what will make the Gambia to continue to be the smiling coast of Africa.
Love like fire. Wow. Love like fire. Xam ngeen rek affaire bi xam ngeen fan la? Skincare la. 2020 lañ wax de. Waaw. Fii nag mooy Kerr fan, Kerr zero tache. Perfect skin. Skincare saa su ne rek niñ ko dee defee rek. Loo lañ soxlaati rek. Maanaam bu ngeen am problème ci seen skin, ngeen xam ngeen fan la. Fii ngeen di ñëw. Suma xarit yeeg am di jàmm yi nga xam ne taas daf lañ sonaloon, xam nga doon xeesal ba laka xum. Éneew ma lañ ko nag waaye just in case comme ni ko gars yi di waxee rek en cas just in case loolu xew xam ngeen fi ngeen di ñëw Skincare Plus si yu baax rek la ñoo dox nag ay baax rek fu ne la ñoo dem ci réew mi di lañ indi rek nag products yu baax du Paris du Italie du USA du fi mu nekk nii sax boole nañ ci nag Sweden fu nekk lañ leen a indilee products bu dee tamit nag da nga ñuul rek ñu lay jamaa natural beauty that melanin dripping we do have stuff for you as well emuñ si skincare products rek ñu ngi ci cuub yi tamit fu ne la ñoo jaar in fact sax last commercial bi ñu defoon waxuñ leen woon ne dañoo dox ci ay kawar 9A grade rek nag waaw we do have bundles as well hair si lu ne la ñoo dox ñun ñu ngi ci rafetal jigéen rek luy taaral jigéen rek waaw boo leen di tukki tamit bëggoon that classic suitcase ñu dañoo dox ci ay Samsonite duñ dee indi any brand of suitcases though other than Samsonite comme li ma dee wax rek boo eggee airport dëri Samsonite dafa am nuñ laa xoolee waaw ngeen lan nag waaw skin ci moom la ñu gën a xamee nag skin care products ci moom la ñu gën a xamee ñu ngi dox tamit bentey tamit si ay dàlla waaye man nag skin care mooy suma specialty xam nga rek jigéen bu sa xar kanam réglé loo def mu jag am nañ Patricia Reiner, Kiwi Eye, the whole range, Lighten Up Gold, Tomatine. I mean, the list can just go on and on and on and on. Lépp loo xam ne rek luy taaral jigéen la ci yooyu rek la ñoo dox. Skincare plus nag emuñ si Gambia rek ñu ngi United States ñu ngi Gambia fii ba pare bu dee yaa ngi anywhere in Europe mun nañ la ko mail within 3 days rek ñetti fan rek nga jot say diw emuñ si loolu rek dañ laa consult tamit balaa ñu laa jaay diw dinañ def a free consultation pour wax la rek exactly li nga xam ne moo méngoo ak sa kanam dinañ leen wax tamit ne rek am nañ perfumes, you know, fragrances, men's shirts, accessories. We do dresses as well. We do blouses. I mean, we do shoes. Name it, we do them. Skincare Plus 2020 is our year of perfection. Zero task. Fi mu nekk nii réew mi fii kenn waratu fi task kenn waratu fi am problème kanam kenn waratu fi am problème yu picca boo ko amee dafa fekk ne rek ñëwuloo ci place bi fii. Love like fire. Bring my love like fire.
Agada di.
Mbijan ro aga nyaade.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha code nyinji.
Okay. Important. Nsila ID soto.
Sa soto. Sorry. Agada di.
Mbijan ro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka.
Mbare.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na lo mbari ya bere. Birim koyna fo katon.
Bari si kodo kino katon nim fo bolong blabe.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nko kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 ti nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale le dadi manin domorol dir fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
barka. Ni ma lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bukani la ko la barka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Barka.
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship, Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.